Dear students, last day we are looking at homonyms. So with that we have completed question number 4. So far we have done question numbers 2, part A directed writing, part B proposal writing, and question number 4 comprehension passage. We have altogether only 4 questions, and question number 1 is essays that you are somewhat familiar with. So now you are almost ready to write your exam. Few of the grammar items you know it, but maybe we can have just kind of revision. Whatever you have learned in earlier classes, we should have a sort of revision like. So nothing more to worry. You know quite a bit now. Today we shall look at another topic that is from question number 3. Question number 3, that is a grammar structure and usage. Tenses and their use. Tenses and their use. So what are the tenses and what are their uses? You have been studying tenses maybe from your most probably 4th class, I think. 4th class onwards, you have been taught tenses. And by now, you must be somewhat familiar with tenses, what tenses are, and what are the main divisions of tenses. How many tenses are there? Students answer differently. Some they say 12 tenses, some say 4 tenses, some say 3 tenses. So tenses normally when we say, it is 3. It is 3. Present, past and future. Subdivisions are there for each of the tenses. There are subdivisions. That is simple, continuous, perfect and perfect continuous in each of the division. These divisions are applicable to all 3. Simple, continuous, perfect and perfect continuous. So if you take a present tense, you have a simple present. You can say either simple present or present simple. Both are same. Present simple or simple present, both are same. So if you are taking, then you have the simple, so present tense you are taking. Then you have simple present, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. If you are taking past, you have past simple, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous. Same with future tense. You have simple future, future continuous, future perfect and future perfect continuous. So they are giving you one caution there in the beginning of the lesson. This is on page number 59, unit 4. So in the beginning they are giving a caution. It is important not to mix up time and tenses. So it is important not to mix up time and tenses. It is important not to mix up time and tenses. What does it mean? Normally we say tenses are to do with time. Tenses are to do with time. If the action has already taken place, we say it's in the past tense. If the action is taking place just now, then it's present tense. And if the action is going to take place, about to take place, or going to take place, then it's future tense. So that's why we mix it with time and tenses. They go hand in hand. That's what normally we say. So past actions, past tense. Present actions, present tense. Future actions, future tense. But now they are saying it's important not to mix up time and tenses. That is to say, it need not be always true that time and tenses go together. They are given you a sentence here. If it rains, I shall stay at home. If it rains, I shall stay at home. If it rains, I shall stay at home. What's the tense? What is the tense? If you take here, if it rains, this is simple present. It rains. It rains. So this is simple present. I shall stay at home. I shall stay at home. It's future tense. So according to the previous understanding, if you are going by time, then sentence is not feasible. Such a sentence is not feasible. Because this is present and this is future. You cannot mix time with the future and present. So that's why they are saying, don't mix up time and tenses. Tenses need not always go with time. It can be different. This is a conditional sentence. This is a conditional sentence. If it rains, I shall stay at home. If it does not rain, I may not stay. If it rains, I shall stay at home. So this kind of construction, you can mix two tenses. Simple present can be used to convey a future action. Simple present can be used to speak of a future action. Not only to speak about what is happening now, it can be used to speak about a future action too. Suppose I say, if the spread of corona slows down, the schools shall reopen. if the spread of corona slows down, the schools shall reopen. If the spread of corona slows down, we are not sure whether it will slow down. If it slows down, then schools shall reopen. So reopening of the school is a future action. If corona slows down, that also is a future action. Here also, if it rains, future action. I shall stay at home, future action. So both, all of them are speaking about future action, but we are using, one part we are using simple present, another part we are using simple future. So such constructions are possible. Therefore, don't mix up time and tenses. Now they have given you a table where they have given tenses of the verb to love. To love. That is a base form, simple form. So dear students, to explain to you the use of tenses, they have a table. In your book they have given mixed up the tenses with passive voice, active voice and passive voice. That will be more confusing. So we shall leave aside the passive voice. We shall take the normal active voice. So as you have seen, there are three tenses: present, past and future. Present, past and future. Every tense has got four forms: the simple form, continuous form, perfect form and perfect continuous form. Suppose you take present, then it's present simple, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Past, past simple, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Then future, future simple, future continuous, future perfect continuous. I said earlier that some people say simple present. Instead of saying simple present, they say simple present simple. Both okay. If you say present simple or simple present, it's the same. Past simple or simple past, both are same. Future simple or simple future, it's the same. Okay. So how do you formulate each of these? How do you formulate each of these? The basic thing is we, one. I plus I laugh. So therefore it is subject plus verb. So normally that is how we learn when you are small children. You are taught. I laugh. I is a subject and this is a verb. Which form of the verb? First form of the verb. Normally we say verb 1, verb 2 and verb 3. Verb 1 is the base form. Verb 2 is a past tense and verb 3 is a past participle. And ing form you can say either as ing form, ing form. Or you can say continuous form. People say differently, no problem. So the formula is subject plus V1. And for continuous form, it is a subject plus is or are or am. Is, are, am. If it's I, along with I we use am. If it's a singular one, we use is. He is. If it's a plural one, we use are. They are. Plus ing form of the verb. And for the perfect, it is a subject plus has or have plus verb 3. Verb 3. That is a past participle form. Laugh, laughed, loved. Learn, learnt, learned. Work, worked, worked. Established, established, established. So, verb 3. I have loved. When it comes to perfect continuous, it will be subject plus has or have plus been plus ing form of the verb. So that is how we form or formulate the verbs. So you have all the verbs and its forms, tenses are here. This is in gist, this is a gist form of all the tenses. You have everything there. Simple continuous, perfect, perfect continuous of the present, past and future. Okay. So those of you who are not very familiar with the tenses, better you write the formula and practice. Suppose you say S plus V1, subject plus V1. Then you can take up the everything and write I love, we love, you love, he loves, she loves, it loves. So one thing you have to remember is in simple present alone, you will have to add yes or es to the verb when third person singular comes. When third person singular comes, you will have to add yes or es to the verb. For example, if you take the verb love, I love, that is okay because that is this is not third person singular. Third person singular are he, she, it. He, she or it. So when he, she or it comes, you will have to use yes or es, adding s or es to the verb. So it will be he loves, she loves, it loves. It's only in a present simple. He loves, she loves, it loves. Suppose you take the verb eat, then it will be he eats, she eats, it eats. Like that. That you should never forget. When you write your essays and all, you make mistakes like that. Now we will come to the uses of the simple present. Uses of simple present. They are given 7 uses. First one is the permanent truth. Let's see what example they have given. What is permanent truth? Truth is something that is a fact. An established fact is a truth. And what is a permanent truth? A truth that remains, does not change. You can say a fact that is constant. A fact that does not change at all. Such things are called permanent truth. They are given some example. Summer follows spring. Summer follows spring. Why did they say follows and not follow? Because it's a third person singular. Summer, third person singular. Summer follows. Summer follows spring. So you can use simple present to say of things which are permanent truths. Summer follows spring. It's an established truth. After summer, you have the spring. It is this year is the same. Last year it was the same. Next year also it will be the same. Gases expand when heated. Gases expand when heated. It's a scientifically proved truth. Gases expand when heated. Suppose you say water freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. Water freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. So that is an established fact. Whether it's in Padrona, in Gorakhpur, in Delhi or Trivandrum, wherever it may be, or even if you go to any other country, water will freeze at 0 degree centigrade. The sun rises in the east. All these are examples. Then the second one is the present period. The present period means what is happening at present. Currently. 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 What is happening at present. My sister works in a bank. My sister works in a bank. I study in Saint Padrona School. Present, what is happening? The corona spreads very fast. Corona spreads very fast. Present period. People are, it's okay, we'll go to next one, habitual actions. Habitual actions. Habitual actions is actions that has become a habit. What is a habit? Habit is you keep doing something that it becomes part of yourself. Some people have the habit of practicing yoga in the morning. So they keep on practicing daily, it becomes part of their daily routine. So habitual action. Some people have the habit of finding fault with others. So they keep doing, so much so, for anything and everything they'll find fault with others. Habitual actions. I get up at 7. I sometimes stay up till midnight. I practice yoga in the morning. I start my study at 5 a.m. I eat my supper at 8 p.m. Whatever it may be. And the fourth one is future references. Future references. Simple present can be used to refer to future actions too. Simple present is used not only for present actions, it can be used for future actions. Example, the concert begins at 7:30 p.m. next Friday. The concert begins at 7:30 p.m. next Friday. Suppose you have some information about the flights. International flights have been cancelled. Suppose the government announces that the flights will resume its service from October 15th, let's say, October 15th. Then you can say international flight services resumes on August 15th. International flight services resumes on October 15th, you can say. The schools reopens. The schools reopen on second week of October. The schools reopen in the second week of October. So you can speak about future action also you can use simple present. And the fifth one is observations and declarations. Observations is what you have observed, noticed. What you have noticed. And what are declarations? Declaration is making a statement. You are declaring, making a statement. So, observations, what you have noticed and what you are declaring, that making a statement. For that also you can use simple present. I hope so. I hope so. I say that I love you. I say that I love you. I hope it will rain today. I hope it will rain today. Then instructions. Instructions are there. Instructions are, you are very familiar with the word instructions. Giving certain directions, how to go ahead or what all things to be done. Now, for example, the corona days, if you have any function anywhere, they will say, they will have a lot of instructions to give. That you should come on before time. You must sanitize your hands. You must wash your face. You must follow a safe distance, a distance of 3 feet. So all these are instructions. So for that also you can use simple present. The example they are given here is, first you weigh the ingredients. First you weigh the ingredients. What is the meaning of weigh? W-E-I-G-H, weigh. To weigh. To weigh. Weigh means to measure. To measure and find out what is the weight of something. That is called to weigh. You have weighing machines. Weighing machine. Weighing machines. If you want to see how much is your weight, you can use a weighing machine. Also you have weighing bridges. Weigh bridge. Weighing bridges. Suppose there is a truck going, truck is loaded truck, and you want to see the weight. Then you can, they will position the truck on the weighing machine. Then it will show the weight of the entire truck. So you can minus the weight of the truck, and then you will get what is the weight of the goods in that. And the last one is commentaries. Seventh one is commentaries. While giving commentaries, you can use simple present. Example given is, Federer serves to Nadal. Earlier, the radio commentaries were very common. Cricket commentaries in the All India Radio, Doordarshan, etc. Now we have so many channels and there are live shows. So commentaries have become less important, but still there are people listening to commentaries. Or you have a games or sports event, and there will be commentaries going on to give you information about what is happening and the progress made by each one, each group. So these are the uses of simple present. The rest we shall see tomorrow. Thank you.